All right, everyone, welcome to the Tonto's Demise Week 7 recap. Um, uh, I don't know. This wasn't really. It was an exciting week for some of us. I believe this was the most we had people going over 200. Three teams were over 200. A couple teams got pretty close. Um, but yeah, despite two Monday night matchups, I think only one came down to the very end, the Seattle Texans game. Um, hmm. But fortunately, I think on the bright side, I don't really know that there were a lot of injuries this week. I know the Miller, the guy who's looking good behind Kamara, tore his ACL. He's done. But other than that, we had some pretty good matchups. Nothing was really close for the most part. Just taking a look at the scores, overall scores here. Really, only Brian and Detling's matchup was close at all. Yeah. So let's just get down right to it into week 7. We'll talk about this at the end because the current standings are now pretty interesting. So, as always, we start with Possum Magic looking to defend his first title and grab that sweet, sweet back-to-back pot. It's not looking good as Possum Magic, the defending champion. He falls under 500 this week, being defeated by the Dub C Hooligans. Dub C, one of the teams going over 200 this week with 206.3 to 165.45. All right, what do we got for the Dub C Hooligans that pushed him over 200 this week? Jalen Hurts had a bink to not your AJ Brown. It was to Devontae Smith, but that still got you 52.5 points. Devontae Adams, only 5 catches, but 3 of them were touchdowns. 26.5 points. And AJ Brown, curious. I'm surprised Disco didn't scold you for moving AJ Brown. Not cuddled up there next to Jalen Hurts there. Your stack, you put Devontae Adams between your stack. You don't do that. 28 points though, so pretty good. But 52 and 28. Strong performance from your buns. Actually, that was a pretty good performance from your buns. All your Eagles really showed up for you this week. Xavier Worthy goes for 8. Javonte Williams, another touchdown for him, 22 points. Jordan Mason gets a touchdown, goes for 11.5. Tucker Kraft, he also scores a touchdown. He gets 17. Shaheed in the flex goes for 8. Dicker the kicker goes for about 7.5. And your Eagles defense, Yahoo says 17. With the bump there from the Bink, that would be 197. So 9 points, maybe 26 from your defense there. But yeah, 50 points from your quarterback. Mid to high 20s from 3 players there. Devontae, AJ Brown, and Javonte. Enough to get past Possum Magic this week. Still, the power of purple. Perhaps it only refer to or apply to Minnesota Vikings there, because you did have the Vikings defense and you let them go. You let them back into the draft this year. At the last minute, you changed your keepers from, I think, the Vikings defense to Derrick Henry. And I'm going to guess that in hindsight, if you could change that decision, you probably would do that. But yeah, well, all your Ravens were on a bye this week. So what did we got? You're hoping that Lamar Jackson comes back healthy after the bye here. You had to plug and play Sam Darnold this week, who only got you 27 points. Actually outscored by the Olive, Chris Olive. Sam Darnold, 26.75 to be precise. And the Olive got 26.8. Never good when your wide receiver outscores your quarterback there, Possum. Sutton goes for 16.5. Diggs goes for 14. Jonathan Taylor, an unstoppable force this year. 3 more rushing touchdowns, 34 points. Monongai, I guess that's how you say his name. DeAndre Swift was a little bit banged up, so this guy got a little bit more playing time in a matchup that wasn't really too close, I think. Bears Saints, he gets 80 yards and a touchdown, 17.5 points. After a huge explosion last week, Goddard only goes for 5 points this week. Juwan Jennings in the flex, 7. Pinheiro, the San Fran kicker, goes for about 12. And then your Jacksonville Jaguars defense. You didn't want to play... Who else do you have? Tampa Bay's defense. Yeah, you had no good choices this week. Both of your defenses were in bad spots. You went with Jacksonville in London against the Rams, and they got completely shellacked by the Rams there. Yahoo says 0. But I believe you actually did get 6 points from the Jacksonville defense. But yeah, really, what was the difference here? About 40 points. So it really, just came down to your buns here. Possum Magic said 32 points total from your buns, 33-ish. Just not going to get it done. When your opponent goes over 200, it's going to be really tough to get it done. But yeah, you just needed some more from several guys. And it just was not meant to be this week. All right. 2 teams going in different directions here. Possum Magic. Dub C Hooligans, with the victory, he moves up to 4-3. He is in 4th place. While Possum Magic drops to 3-4. He is in 7th place. Normally we just go straight down the line here, but we'll just jump to this one since it was the Monday night matchup. The Podcasters of Power, although one is semi-retired for the most part, busy raising children, which is, it's a bullshit excuse here. But we've got Not So Mighty Whites going up against Hillbillies on PCP. And of course, Not So Mighty Whites get the victory this week. You know why? It's because, Brian, your team is trash. Complete garbage. Top to bottom, front to back, up, down, all around. Your team is garbage. Just call Gags and have him take you out, because he's the trash man. Just have him take you out. Have him do his thing. Anyway, this did come down to not Sunday night, Monday night. We had multiple matchups again. We had the Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then starting not until 10 p.m. our time, we had the Seahawks and the Texans. So I had to stay up till that was over and figure out the defensive scores, because both Houston and Seattle were started by people this week, and didn't have too much time before Yahoo finalized all the scores there, so had to stay up and do that. But anyway, we had a lot involved in those matchups. For the Tighty Whiteys, we had Sam Laporta and David Montgomery and the Seattle defense. While for Hillbillies, he had Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz. So that was basically, but you guys, Brian had like half of his team go last night. And then Detling had two people that were catching passes from Jared Goff, playing a little defense there. And it worked out for you. What do we got for the Tighty Whiteys? Not so tighty. Mac Jones, no Purdy still. He only gets you at 22.7. But yeah, it was basically the CMC show on Sunday night, as he actually went for 42 points. Kind of a score reversal there, back in flip-flops there, a normal score. Usually 42 from your quarterback and 22 from your running back is much more likely, but only 22 from Mac Jones. Drake London only goes for 8 after exploding last week. Adunze, 5. Rashee Rice comes back from his suspension, catches 2 short touchdowns on 7 catches there, gets 23. As I said, Christian McCaffrey, 42 points. Saquon, only 5. Laporta, only 5. Montgomery, only 6. Butker gets for about 7.5. And then what pushed you over the top was the Seattle Seahawks defense. Yahoo says 12. Looks like you got another 9 points to 21. And what ended up being, it was only like it was a less than 6 point difference here. So, I mean, if Seattle, not Seattle, Houston could have scored a touchdown. I mean, they got inside like the 10 and 5 yard line how many times towards the end of that game, and they just could not get anything done there. So they definitely had their opportunities, but just couldn't get there. Yeah, if they had a little bit more points, put up some yardage there for Houston against Seattle. Really, this one could have gone the other way, but unfortunately for you, it didn't. For Hillbillies, he had his Goff Amon-Ra stack. This week they failed him. This week you would have preferred AJ Brown. Only 31.5 for Goff. This matchup, I was kind of surprising. Thought it was going to be a closer, more competitive match where Goff would have to do a little more passing. But Jahmyr Gibbs did most of the work in this one. Amon-Ra did catch a touchdown. I believe that was Goff's only touchdown. So yeah, Goff went for 32 and Amon-Ra went for 21. Nico gets concussed in maybe late third, early fourth quarter. That perhaps affects this matchup too, as he got 6.7, and that's where he ended up. Addison goes for 22. Judkins scores 3 touchdowns, goes for 26.5. Gainwell only 3.5. Dalton Schultz, a solid performance from him, 18.8 on 9 catches for almost 100 yards. Trey Tucker in the flex, 8.5 points. Perhaps the biggest factor here in this matchup for Hillbillies, his kicker was a team who got shut out this week. The Las Vegas Raiders. So 0, nothing at all for Carlson. All you needed was 6 from him, and you get a victory here. And then, also, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense from Thursday night. That's got to hurt too, because Brian, we actually didn't have to adjust your score at all this week, I see. 2 points you got from the Steelers defense. So from your kicker and your defense, they combined to score 2 points in a matchup where you lost by 6. That's got to sting. But anyway, it is what it is, and we all know that. All right, both teams are now 3-4, but going just like the other matchups. These two teams are going in different directions. Tidy Whiteys is now in 8th place, while Hillbillies takes over the basement in 12th place. All right, now we'll just go right down my line here. So none of these matchups were really very competitive or close, so we might as well just run right through them. Like Rico Dowdle versus your run defense, any team's run defense. We're just going to go right through it. All right, we've got Boomers, balls deep. He is now the Titans of Turf. Tot, T-O-T. Little tater tot there, Zach. The T-O-T versus the W-O-W, the WOW versus the Tot. Interesting. The Titans of Turf is Zach's new team name. Anyway, he gets the victory 181.2 over the Wizard of Winburn. Ends up with 156.2. Somehow. Despite, I think, basically because Jahmyr Gibbs scored 40 points, making my score look somewhat respectable because my lineup was almost completely garbage. For Titans, what do we got? Zach's Dak goes for 47. DK goes for 8. Dubs goes for 13. Justin Jefferson, 13 as well. Feel pretty good about any time Justin Jefferson only scores 13 points against you. Unfortunately, not able to take advantage of that. Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns, 19 points. Vidal in for, what's that guy's name? I can't, but I don't want to go look it up. Not Quinshawn. Not, whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll get, John, no, not John. God damn it. Now I have to go look. Why am I blanking on his name? The Chargers running back who's on IR that Detling traded for Hampton, Omarion Hampton. All right, back to the matchup. What do we got? Vidal said 7.5 points. Big factor here. McBride catches 2 touchdowns. They're almost 30 points for him. 10 catches, 2 touchdowns. Pacheco goes for 12.5. Boswell goes for 8.5. And then your Packers defense, Yahoo says 12. Well, you did have. I'm sorry, Dak had a bump, or a bink, which bumped him from 47 to 50. So let's see. We jumped up. Looks like your score bumped up about 9 also, to 21 for the Packers defense. But yeah, just your wide receivers showed up, and my stuff did nothing. Drake May goes for 46.5. DJ Moore, 8.5. Iomenor, only 5. Whittington picked him up and played him as a hopefully a fill-in with Puka out. He goes for 3. Should have just not even wasted the transaction. ETN, only 6.5. Travion Henderson, 0.5. What does... Just watching that, 2 touches in a game where they blew out the Titans. I just don't, I don't understand. I'm getting killed here by, other than Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously. But like my first several draft picks are just killing me. That's where your rosters are made, and it just is not happening for me this year. What do we got? Ferguson goes for 22. Said Gibbs had a bink, so he actually ended up with 43 points. Fairbairn goes for about 8.5, 9 points. And then the Denver Broncos defense somehow pulled a victory out of defeat. And Yahoo says 7. Looks like, would 9 be too much? Yeah, I think 13 points, I think. Yeah, because we got the bink. And then we got that. So, must have been 13 for the Broncos defense there. But yeah, just wasn't quite enough. Single-digit scores. All my wide receivers, both of my running backs, combining, like half my roster combined for what, like 13, 16. 17, 23. Half my roster combined to score 23 points, which basically Trey McBride covered that himself here. All right, what do we got? Again, teams going in different directions. Zach, both teams are now 3 and 4. Zach climbs out of the basement. He is now in 9th place, while the Wizard drops below him in 10th place. All right, then we've got Biscuits and Porn blowing out the Shawshank Athletics. It was a fun week for Josh in first place there. Hopefully he enjoyed it and made the best of it. Told all his friends, bragged to his coworkers and family that he was in first place in Tonto's Demise. But so hopefully you enjoyed it while it lasted. Biscuits 209.75 to Shawshanks 125.7, which means Josh was eliminated. In case you couldn't guess, Josh was eliminated from the knockout pool this week. Because let me see, you are not on the list so far. Yeah, so Josh, you are out. All right. Speaking of the Denver Broncos pulling victory out of the jaws of defeat, the Denver Broncos, and he had Bo Nix as his quarterback. The Broncos had 0 points, as I'm sure you guys all know, going into the fourth quarter of this matchup versus the Giants. The Denver Broncos had 0 points. They were being shut out, and they ended up with 33 points, meaning Nix ends up with 70 points. JSN goes for another 26. McConkey goes for 15.5. T catches a touchdown, goes for 21.5. Genty in that Raiders shutout against the Chiefs there. I mean, God, they look awful. I think they had three first downs. Disco feasted. His Kansas City defense got like 50 points for him. I think he got 9. Yeah, he got 9 points for pretty much every single stat category that we give, because they only got 3 first downs in that entire game. Just disgusting. And I got to watch that game, and it was just brutal. 4.5 points for Genty, 9 for Dobbins, Mason Taylor 6, Tony Pollard in the flex 12, Bates your kicker about 7.5, and then the Bears defense, Yahoo says 22, but it looks like you got 15. Yeah, about a 15-point bump to 38. They did pretty good there against the Saints. Yeah, but it was way more than enough to get past Shawshank this week, despite having a strong performance from Patrick Mahomes. Going for 55. Bijan puts up 21. Scatabo, another 18.5. But other than that, your receivers didn't do too much. Jalen Waddle, only 2.5 on 1 catch. Mike Evans comes back from injury, goes right back out with injury. I believe they said he broke his collarbone now after coming back from a hamstring. Now he's probably done for the year. Maybe he might come back for the playoffs or late season. Broken collarbone. That was it. It's currently mid-October. Mid-December maybe he comes back. But that probably won't help you too much fantasy football wise. But yeah, Mike Evans got a 0 before getting knocked out. Johnston, only 2 catches, but one of them's a touchdown. He gets 11. Said Bijan went for 21. Scatabo 18.5. TJ Hawkinson 10.5. Bill goes for 4.5. And then the Clit goes. Josh, you just could not find the Clit this week. He only goes for 0. He missed. He made a PAT and he missed a field goal, so he got you exactly 0. And Washington defense. They got blown out by the Cowboys, but they did get a safety. Got you a couple points here. Actually, no. Despite getting that safety, I believe that was it. Because they got a safety and a sack. That's 6 points, but they lost, which is -3. And I believe that took you back to 3. And I believe that ended up being the correct score, because Josh Yahoo actually has you for more points than what you actually scored there. So yeah, you only got 3 points from the Washington Commanders defense. 2 zeros, 3 from your defense. Just not gonna get it done. Said again, your opponent goes over 200. Really not too long. There's not a whole lot you can do if your team doesn't also really show up just in those matchups. Just bad luck. But both teams are now 4-3. Despite defeat, Shawshank is in 3rd place, while Biscuits and Porn is in 5th place. All right, what do we got next? We got Disco going against Darkwing Jet. Darkwing trying to get back into first place. Disco trying to climb the ladder, back up the standings here. And so far, so good because Disco gets the victory. Probably felt pretty good after Jamar Chase's 41 points on Thursday night. And that big score pretty much ends up being the difference here as Disco, and basically Jamar Chase and the Chiefs defense, 49 points, I believe it was. So, 90 points from Jamar Chase and your defense. All right, so what do we got for Disco? 194.5 to Darkwing's 165.7. All right, for Disco, no Buffalo Bills stack this week, so you got to go with your Jacksonville Jaguars stack. Trevor Lawrence and BTJ. Lawrence goes for 43.5, but Thomas Jr., not Johnson, Jr., only 6 points from him. Jameson Williams, 0. Another donut from him this week. Fortunately, Jamar Chase made up for it, kind of balanced out the scores here for your wide receiver core. 41 points from him. Ashan goes for 13. Brees goes for 7. Fannin 7.5. Rashad White 8.5. Kicker named Brandon goes for about 17.5. And then your Chiefs defense, Yahoo says 19, but you got a 30-point bump to 49 because you got 3 points for the victory, and you got 9 for the first downs, you got 9 for the rushing yards, you got 9 for the passing yards. That's 27 and 3, so 30. Basically a dream matchup for your defense. You would have liked to see a couple turnovers in there. That's the only really thing that you were missing. They only had 1 turnover and 1 sack. But yardage-wise, doesn't get any better than that. Basically, a shutout and all those is a dream matchup for a defense. Just those two things just kind of went against Justin this week. Darkwing Jet, not much you can do when that happens. Baker Mayfield goes for 40.5 points, not too bad. Again, really thought this game would be more competitive score-wise. 40.5. Tet 6.5. CeeDee Lamb comes back, catches a bink, goes for 25. Travis Hunter goes over 100 yards with a touchdown. He gets 24. Kyron only 8.5. Again, the Rams didn't have to do a whole lot in this matchup. The Jaguars didn't put up a huge fight. I think Travis Hunter, a little garbage time hero there. Jalen Warren, over 100 yards, gets you 23. Cade Otton, your Tampa Bay receiver, tight end there, goes for 13.5. Since actually surprisingly, Egbuka ended up playing this week. But there was no way you were going to start him with his hamstring injury on Monday, risking, Monday night. Marvin Harrison in the flex goes for 8. McLaughlin, your kicker, just a 50-some yard field goal, so 5 point something. And then your Vikings defense got beaten pretty good by the Philadelphia Eagles this week. Yahoo says 6. Probably, you had the bank there, so I think a 6.12 was probably the score for your Minnesota Vikings defense. But yeah, for Darkwing, said not bad scores. Would have liked to see a little bit more from Kyron, especially in a blowout victory. Tet didn't do much. Marvin Harrison didn't do too much. Your defense would have tough matchup though. You would have liked to see a little bit more from them. But yeah, Justin, really just not much you could have done. Other than plug and play Gadsden from the tight end from the Chargers. It would not have made a difference here because you lost by 29 points. Not really sure where you would have plugged Gadsden in there, but you would have just made this matchup a little more painful score wise. But yeah, you just kind of ran into a buzzsaw this week with three spots in Disco's lineup, scoring 40 plus. His quarterback, Chase, and his defense there. Despite Jameson's donut, just not able to get it done. But Darkwing Jet, despite the defeat, he is in second place at 4-3. And with the victory, Disco moves up to 3-4. And he is back in the playoff door in 6th place. All right, then, what else? We did Dub C Possum. So we just got Ed versus Gags, the East versus the East there. And Gags, with his new team, still put up a pretty good score, but not able to get it done. As Ed Logger puts up what I believe was the highest score we've had so far all season, 217.9. To Gags is 161.9. So Gags still a highly respectable score there, but just could not get it done. Like I said, basically everything went right for Ed this week. The Colts-Chargers games turned into a shootout as Justin Herbert, 37 completions, over 400 yards. His Herbert-Keenan Allen stack, I don't think there were any binks here, but Herbert, 72 points, and Keenan Allen just under 30. So over 100 points just from the two of them. Devontae Smith was the recipient of Jalen Hurts' bink, which means he got 39.5 points. So that's another almost 40 points. So 140 basically just from Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Devontae Smith this week. Enough that would have beaten a couple teams just from those three players. So almost 40 points from Devontae Smith. Golden goes for 7.5. Kamara goes for 6. Dowdle cools off and goes for 10.5. Tyler Warren, 17. Sterling Shepard in the flex, 7.5. Elliott, the Eagles kicker, missed his only field goal. A couple PATs, gets you 3. And then just icing on the cake here, the cherry on top, really. On Monday night, the Houston Texans defense, despite defeat, they actually did pretty good. Yahoo says 26. So I think you basically, because they gave up a ton of yards and stuff. You actually must have gotten 29 from your defense there. Still pretty good. So just a small add there. Because your kicker, we didn't have to add any points for him. No binks for you. The only binks were Hurts. Oh, you did get. Sorry. Yeah, you did add this one of the binks. So that means that means the Texans score actually must have been correct. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did not have to adjust. So stayed up and ended up not having to adjust that score. 26, but still, like I said, 140 points approximately from Herbert, Keenan, and Devontae Smith. 30 points from your defense. The rest of your team just had to show up and push you over 200 this week. For Gags to Riches, we got Jaden Daniels going for 31.5 before suffering a hamstring injury. So I think they're saying it's not too severe. Hamstring injury not considered significant long-term issue. But don't know if he'll be back this week. Their bye isn't for a couple weeks yet, so we'll see. That might be a problem there. They had no wide receiver. All their wide receivers are hurt too. So it was just a bad situation all around for the Commanders here. Pickens goes for 12.5 points. Kind of cools off on only 4 catches with CD Lamb back in the fold. Jerry Jeudy 4. Michael Wilson 7. Swift goes for 24. Chase Brown, 15. Kelsey, 8.5. Kyle Pitts in the flex, 13 points. Seattle kicker, Myers goes for about 8.5. And then the Patriots defense, Yahoo says 23. Gags, looks like you actually got a decent bump there. Let's see, 15 sounds about right. Looking at the rest of your team there. To 38, So pretty good score from your defense. Swift showed up for you. Chase Brown, not too bad, over 100 yards there. But he had actually 2 catches for -8 yards, I see here. But yeah, what's there to say, really? Other than it is what it is when you go up against the highest score of the season so far, which goes to Ed there. And he jumps up into first place at 5-2, the only team with a 5 in his standings. 5-2, first place, which said we'll get to that in just a second here. Gags drops to 3-4. He is in 11th place. So yeah, the only team with a 5 in their record is Ed Lager, because all 11 of the rest of us are either 4-3 or 3-4. I am not sure we have ever had that before. One game separates second place from 12th place currently, as it stands right now. Although the point differential is almost 200 between Justin in second place and Brian in 12th place. So yeah, almost a 200-point difference there. Let's see. But yeah, how many people are 3-4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4 and 3s. So yeah, I was thinking about this last night and today. I'm not sure that we've ever had this situation. If only Gags could have pulled off a victory. And been 4-3 instead of 3-4. That would have made. We could have had the. I'm really bummed now that I'm thinking about this. If Gags could have beaten Ed, the whole league would be either 4-3 or 3-4. Very interesting. So yeah, we've got a ton of buys this week. I already before the season even began, I penciled this weekend as an L. Unfortunately, I'm getting Disco, who is surging right now. All my biggest guns are gone this week. Yeah, barely cobbling together a lineup. So yeah, it's going to be easy for you. Disco, if you lose this week, you tuck your tail between your legs and be super embarrassed. Do not tell anyone. But yeah, you should. This week should be a cakewalk for you. Then I get Ed next week, so things aren't going to get any easier. Go from 3-5 probably. Then get Ed next week. The first place team. Probably knocking me to 3-6, and basically we have to win out just to have a chance in the playoffs. So yeah, as I've already said before, you got pretty much Burrow going down. Ripped my heart out of this season several weeks ago. So yeah, we were 2 weeks in, and I'm good. I'm cruising along, going along. Said treading water basically. Just waiting, because I just don't see it happening this year. But I mean, obviously, you never know, because people are getting. I mean, we're getting heavy into buys. People were getting hurt. We had so many people getting hurt. Not wishing that anymore on anybody, of course. We've all had our fair share. Said it's just been a bloodbath this year. Just whoever survives and escapes getting devastated by injuries, gonna make the playoffs here. So yeah. So Josh was eliminated from the knockout pool this week. But yeah, I find it pleasing to look at the standings here and just see all these almost only one person in the league is not 4-3 or 3-4. All right, then what do we have for week 8 here? Said Disco he's gonna get back. He'll probably get back to 500. He's on an upward trajectory after a rough start to the season, and I am on the downward trajectory. Zach versus Ed. That'll be a good matchup here. I guess we'll just take a look. I know I'm getting hit hard by bye weeks. Disco's not. I don't think he has too much. Let's see. Just looking at Zach and Ed here. Any adjustments to your lineup here? Not really. I think Zach had most of his buys in week 5. For Zach, no McBride this week. That kind of hurts you. He's one of your best players. But otherwise, both your lineups are pretty as they were. What else do we got? Biscuits versus Dub C. 2 teams on the rise. Somebody's going to get win number 5. What do we got here? Biscuits needs to find a kicker. He must have some. He's got Genty on a bye, JSN on a bye. What else has he got? Because he's got Evan Engram. He's got multiple tight ends in his starting lineup as of right now. For Dub C, he's Pearsall in the wide receiver, hoping that he plays. Said no Devontae this week. No Arizona defense. I mean, not much of an adjustment to Dub C's lineup this week. So we'll see what happens there. Not hugely affected by the bye weeks. I know Brian said he's got no Lions this week, so no Goff, no Amon-Ra. Gotta hope that Nico gets over his concussion. For Justin, he's basically got his whole solid lineup in there. Marvin Harrison and Kyron. He's got no Harrison, no Kyron, or Travis Hunter this week. But yeah, he's hoping Bucky Irving comes back. He's got this Gadsden guy who's been going off. Not too big of a hits there. If Bucky Irving doesn't play, that makes it a little tricky for Justin, because he currently does not have another running back to put into his lineup this week. As of this moment. But yeah, for Hillbillies, said no Goff, no Amon-Ra. He's got to hope Nico. He currently has no quarterback playing this week still. He's going to have to pick up somebody. Brock Bowers is on a bye, but he's been hurt for a while, so you've been running without him for several weeks now. Your kicker is on a bye. You got... playing Justin is a rough matchup every week, no matter what, but it's going to be even trickier here for Hillbillies. Said currently with no quarterback and some bye week problems there. No kicker. I don't think you have a backup kicker. Nobody really does that, so you're going to have to make some moves here, Hillbillies, and make some moves and say some prayers here for week 8. We got Gags versus Josh. Let's see. Mikey's still got Mike Evans in his starting lineup. He'll have to do something about that, obviously. He'll have to find a kicker. He'll have to hope that Debo comes back. That's not till a Monday night. So that could be a little tricky for you. You got Josh. You kind of got to find yourself a wide receiver here. For Gags, what do we got? This isn't until Monday night either. Again, same matchup. Your quarterbacks in this matchup are going head to head, but obviously Jaden Daniels is a huge question mark for this week. Michael Wilson on a bye. Your kicker's on a bye. You're hoping Scary Terry can come back. Other than that, Gags, you got Kareem Hunt again on Monday night, but he got banged up a little bit last week. Not sure what his status is. It could be. That's not too. If Jaden Daniels doesn't go, you've got Aaron Rodgers versus Green Bay at home against Green Bay, so that could be. He could be motivated to show up and put up some stats here. So that could be interesting here, but really some bye weeks and some injury stuff going on here in this matchup. Actually, I assume Gags is going to go with Aaron Rodgers. He's got no I said he needs Scary Terry. You don't have any other wide receiver on your roster. Guys, you need to pick up a kicker. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a tricky week for Gags. So Josh, you just need to put in a receiver and find a kicker, and you're probably going to be in a good spot here. Said with Gags having some issues. And then we've got Possum Magic versus the Tidy Whiteys. Possum hoping that Lamar Jackson comes back. Definitely hoping that Purdy comes back. Possum's got the power of purple back in his lineup. His roster pretty much looks exactly the same as it did last week, except his Ravens are back in his lineup. For Detling, also basically the same lineup as he had last week. He's got no Seattle defense. They looked actually pretty good last night. So you've got the Chargers defense against Minnesota. Not really sure I like that for you. But said you got a couple Lions on bye. Seattle. But you've got your lineup is pretty solid despite those couple bye week problems. So yeah, this should be another good matchup. 2, 3, and 4s. One of you will get back to 500. Let's see. Any other 3 and 4s? Just me and Disco and Possum and Detling going against each other as 3 and 4s. So yeah, could be a little bit of. We should get some separation here, as some teams climbing up the standings, while others are dropping like stones. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for week 7. We will come back here and talk about week 8 next week, as we are approaching Halloween. I think I have to change on Yahoo there. The trade deadline is Thanksgiving, as I reminded you guys earlier. I think Yahoo. I don't know if I put it on Yahoo or whatever. When I thought it was, when I was, excuse me, mistaken about it. But anyway, so yeah. Thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. No more injuries. No more injuries. Please, please, please. May everyone's players meet or exceed expectations. Everyone has a good time. And we come back here next week to talk about the events of week 8. Said they're calling it the Bye-Mageddon. So yeah, a lot of us are going to be without a lot of good players here, myself included. Said I penciled this weekend as an L. Really needed to get 1 or 2 wins. Didn't want to be in the position I'm in currently. But nobody cares. We're all here to win. And you have no mercy, no sympathy for your opponents' trials and tribulations of your opponents here. All right, guys. I know nobody ever gets to this point, so thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. And good night, good luck, goodbye. Yeah, that's it. Bye-bye.